All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So the draft is quickly approaching. I cannot wait for it. And I do feel like at this time of year, like kind of in that week and a half right before the draft, people are starting to get a little like mock draft out. You know, you're seeing all these different names, all these different prospects linked to different teams and whatnot. Specifically in that first round. And everyone's mock draft starting to look a little bit similar. Everyone's getting similar buzz. But in this one, I wanted to focus in on a prospect that the Jets have done a lot of work on. It seems like there's a lot of buzz here. And this isn't like a report coming out from, like a beat report or anything. This is just kind of an observation that, I think if you take a look at just how the process has gone so far, the Jets could very well like this player. It's Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas. Now, it's no secret that the Jets have done a lot of homework on these quarterbacks, right? Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, Cam Miller, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, and of course, Quinn Ewers. So you're reading the tea leaves, right? We go back to the NFL Combine, right, where NFL teams are present and they can meet with prospects one-on-one, have private meetings, and the Jets met with Ewers. Cool. Right? Cool little update, keep it moving. Then you fast forward to the Texas Pro Day. Not only did the Jets just meet again with Quinn Ewers, but Aaron Glenn was there. By the way, we're talking about the quarterback position too. So you're kind of naturally thinking, okay, the head coach is going to want to sit down and talk to a prospect like that. So we have the combine meeting, interest. We have the Pro Day meeting with Aaron Glenn at the Pro Day. And by the way, for context, Texas's draft class is loaded. Makuba, Cam Williams, Kelvin Banks, Matt Golden, Isaiah Bond. The list goes on, right? It's stacked, right? Big Alfred Collins in the middle of the defense. I love Alfred Collins. Jahdae Barron at corner. Texas's pro day is loaded. So you could spin it like, hey, it's a coincidence, right? Texas has a big draft class. Aaron Glenn is there. He's not there for Quinn Ewers, obviously, right? But I do think it's relevant to make a note of, hey, the Jets met with Ewers and Glenn was a part of it. So now that we have those two things set in stone, we look at the top 30 visits. Was Quinn Ewers a top 30 visit? The answer is yes, he was. So the Jets are 3 for 3 in opportunities to meet with Quinn Ewers. The Jets have taken advantage of all of them. Again, Combine, Pro Day, top 30 visit. You'd think if one of the interviews went wrong, if they didn't really like the feel, they would just call it at the Combine. Awesome, this was great. But, okay, internally, we can start focusing in on other guys. Not continue to sit down, not continue to make out time, not continue to do homework on this specific player. In a top 30 visit isn't necessarily like, hey, we really love you, come check out the facility. It definitely can be that, but it also could be, maybe we have one more question. Maybe we want to get you back up on the whiteboard and run through our questions, right? Maybe if Tanner Engstrand is present, he wants to really talk about offensive football, right? I mean, think back to when Baker Mayfield was coming out back in that 2018 draft class. The Jets obviously walked away with Sam Darnold, but they did so much homework on Baker Mayfield. I mean, Jeremy Bates, there was the rumor that he flew down to Oklahoma and met with Lincoln Riley and developed this offense for Baker at the next level, because they were just, like that was going to be the guy at spot number 3. He, of course, goes number 1, but, it just feels like there's a lot of just interest from the New York Jets and Quinn Ewers. So now the question is, okay, what type of prospect is Quinn Ewers? And I got to be honest, for me, the biggest thing that stands out, he seems like a mentally strong player. I want to dive into the physical skill sets, of course, but I think this is a really, really important angle to take when we're talking about Quinn Ewers, right? When you're talking about being the quarterback of Texas, playing in a bunch of big games, right? Going back to the Big 12, of course, this past season, in the SEC, playing, some top tier teams, having good performances against top tier teams, college football playoff, right? There was a lot of expectation around Quinn Ewers. You're playing with a stacked unit. The expectation is winning a national championship. You have Arch Manning, who everyone's just presuming is going to be the first overall pick next season, as your backup. Anytime Quinn made a poor throw or a poor decision or the Longhorns punted, you knew there were conversations, whether it was at the stadium, whether it was fans watching at home. Hey, can we put Arch in? for this next drive? Would Arch have made that throw? Would we have gotten in the end zone with Arch? So to constantly deal with all that noise, constantly deal with the expectations, constantly deal with having to play some, top tier competition. You look at, his career when it was all said and done. I mean, he was absolutely fantastic on the road. 15-1 TD to INT ratio. He showed up on the road. You listen to Sark talk about Quinn Ewers, right? And he literally brought up, hey, this guy is mentally strong. This dude has dealt with a lot. This guy has, been in the limelight for a long, long time. He's had the spotlight on him because of the program, because of the expectations, because, of course, about the backup. And he's handled it pretty well. And if you're talking about being a quarterback with a team in New York, right, where the media size is huge, where you have, headline after headline after headline and beat reporters talking about you, there's, of course, expectation, but it really feels like, hey, you got to get a guy who's comfortable being in the spotlight. And Quinn Ewers definitely checks that box. As far as the physical maybe makeup of his game, he's not the biggest guy. He's not the mobile guy. He's not comparable to a Jalen Milroe or someone like that as far as physical skill sets, which is why he's being talked about as a day 3 prospect. But what Ewers does have is incredible touch in the intermediate game, right? Like working off of play action, like his ability to sell, like bring the ball back after faking it to running backs, being able to work off of bootlegs, being able to drop back in kind of like a prototypical style of quarterback play, right? I think he does a really, really good job. And you're trying to envision, okay, the Tanner Strand offense. We really don't have a for sure answer on what it's going to look like, especially with Justin Fields now added to the mix. But, Ewers is someone who would fit with the Detroit Lions, just looking at that offense purely. So I do think that's relevant to talk about. Okay, it's like someone who can throw darts over the middle of the field, someone who does a great job off of play action, someone who's, I would say, for the most part, pretty accurate. And then you're factoring in this whole torn oblique situation, which needs to be talked about with Quinn Ewers. It has to be. We can, whether you love the Longhorns, hate the Longhorns, love Ewers, hate them, you have to evaluate Quinn Ewers with the notion, going back and rewatching 2024 in the SEC, right? All those passes that looked a little wobbly, all those ducks in the air, every single throw needs to be reevaluated with the mindset of this player was playing with a torn oblique. That is going to affect velocity. That is going to affect the quarterback position. It's just the bottom line. So it kind of makes you say, whoa, hold on a second. People were talking about the zip on the football. People were talking about the arm strength with Quinn Ewers. And you kind of felt like a lot of people kind of in the mainstream were like, okay, Quinn Ewers, it's his senior year. He's coming out. Texas is really good. They're on TV a lot. Let's watch Quinn. And the ball, like that zip is just not there. And so a lot of people are like, what arm strength are you guys talking about? It's just not really showing up when you're watching games, which is true. But then you factor in the injury and it's like, whoa, okay, maybe the ball will come out faster at the next level when he's fully healthy. I thought he actually looked pretty solid at the combine too. You look at his college statistics, 68 touchdowns to 24 INTs, 9,128 passing yards, pretty consistent over the 3 years at Texas. Career completion percentage just under 65%. He plays within the offense. Again, he's played with a ton of pressure. He's played in a bunch of big games. If the Jets love Quinn Ewers and they want to select him on day 3 of the NFL draft, I'm cool with it, right? Who am I to say, no, Muji, no, Glenn, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You guys don't know what you want in the quarterback position. Of course, I can have my opinions on certain players, but, when it comes to this draft class specifically, it does feel a bit like a crapshoot. Like certain NFL draft insiders love certain quarterbacks. Some don't really even, think of them as like top 7 quarterbacks in this class. You just have names that range all over the map. It really feels like it's one of these drafts where it's kind of pick your preference. It's not so, set in stone. QB1, QB2, QB3, doesn't matter where he lands. It's like, no, situation is going to play a massive role in this upcoming draft for QBs. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Where do you stand with Quinn Ewers, A, and then B, Day 3, we're talking round 5, round 6, maybe round 4. Right, we're not talking about round 2 at 42, round 3. I mean, you can maybe argue if you want Quinn Ewers, you can just snag him in that 3rd round, but I feel like Ewers will probably be a day 3 draft selection. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and as always, go Jets.